Welcome back, everyone. Trying to get the streaming stuff all set back up again. If you come in here, let me know how the microphone settings are. I'm working on everything. Everything seems to be, well, it's all new. A different computer, different everything set up. Been gone a long time. Time to start getting ready again to start playing with things. I'm going to be adjusting all different settings. I'm going to be adjusting a ton of different things throughout all of this just to make sure everything works okay. Again, the microphone, same old microphone, but completely different setup for the sim racing. Got a whole multiple camera setup going on here, all for what we'll be doing today, which is actually building some Armigers. So 40K. A lot of you guys, I get different things on my Instagram once in a while. I actually get laughed at once in a while, just how many times I change hobbies. If you've been with me for a long time, I've been on YouTube for super long time, and I've changed more hobbies than most have seen. I started with the RC car stuff back when I had Average Joe's. Then I went into Jeep stuff, airsoft stuff. Oh my God, Magic the Gathering stuff, Warhammer stuff for a little bit, and that's what we're gonna do today. So the question is what does this channel actually wind up being now? And I guess the channel would just be more of a general interest channel. Um, at this point, I'm just doing this for whatever I feel like. I don't want to keep myself pinned to any one thing because I did that for a super long time, and it got to the point where doing videos was a slog. I didn't want to do it anymore. So if you were on one of the previous videos of what I've been up to and stuff like that, again, like I said, this setup right here is in the same position that the sim rig used to be. I've packed the sim rig up; it's gone. Put the monitors in the living room and let my son use them. I got one monitor left here of the triple monitors, actually the 4 monitor setup. One of the monitors is here, 2 of the monitors is on my kid's computer. I got one back there on the floor, but the whole rig has been broken down and it's in the garage and it's going to go into the attic. Am I done with sim racing? For now, for the foreseeable future. I'm not going to get rid of this stuff. I wanted to keep it because I want it to be around for when my son starts to want to learn how to drive, or if he wants to figure out how any of it works, then I'll do that for him. But for the most part, I'm not really interested in having any of that stuff. I waited a long time with iRacing, started playing Assetto Corsa, didn't really like it, so here I am. But what we're gonna do today, I got a guy. His name is Tim. He's one of the coolest guys. I've known him since I'm going to say 1998, 1997. It's been a long time. I got lots of stories about Tim. He's one of the coolest cats on the planet, and he got me into Warhammer. Warhammer is something that I was already doing, like digging into the lore quite significantly. It was just a question of whether or not I wanted to play the game. And it's funny, I started buying Warhammer stuff. You can see it behind me there. There's a whole bunch of figures. Eventually I'll be setting up the background and stuff like that, that everything will be backlit and cross lit and everything will be lit and my eyeballs won't just look like giant shadows. But everything is going to get set up. But anyway, he started talking to me into Warhammer, and I bought, you kind of can't see it down on the bottom down there. There is so many unpainted models. And of all of the money that I've spent on it and all the things that I've done, I've only ever played one game, and it was a demo game, but I loved it. So Tim asked me to build some Armigers for him. I got 2 sets of Armigers that have to get built. And I said, you know what? Kind of fun to do. And maybe I'll do it on camera and talk to you guys while I'm doing it, because the chat is open. I've got it on my screen. If you guys want to try chatting, I want to make sure all this stuff still works. I see that my typing box is gone, so I'm reworking everything to make it all work again. But let me know if the sound is high enough. Let me know if it's too high, if it's clipping. Let me know if the cameras are doing okay. If there's anything, or even if you just want to chat, I'm here. I'm here for it. I want to see it all. I think I'll be able to see it. I'm pretty sure. But you know what? Let's go through some Warhammer stuff. So for those of you who are uninitiated for the Warhammer, it is a game set in the far distant grim future. But it all starts as little plastic sprues and ends up being some pretty neat stuff. Tim's actually invested himself in some giant titans, which are giant models. But this is how they start. They start as sprues, come from Games Workshop, although some people do 3D print them. But this is how it starts out. And all of the things you see here will actually become 2 units. So that's all of it there. And then, of course, with every one, you do get instructions to kind of go through and figure out how you want to build them. Now, if I remember correctly, Tim just told me to build them however I wanted to. I probably should clarify that before I get too deep. But as you can see here, there are always options when you're building these things. So you can build this one as an Armiger, what's that, Helverin? Or you can build it as a Warglaive. And depending on who you're playing with and depending on how it's done, some people set rules that it's like, no, you have to play with the weapon set that you built. And some people say the rule, cool, man, make it how you want it to look and then just tell me what it is. Because if you look on the back here, they all have different rules. And if this looks Greek to you, don't worry, it's Greek to me as well. Movement, how far the unit moves, what you got to roll to hit, roll for damage, it's toughness, it's health. I forget the rest of it. But there's a lot of stuff that you have to learn. The rules come out in codexes. They get changed all the time. It's a lot of work. I don't bother keeping on top of it because right now I just love to build. So I probably should ask him what he wants these set up as. I hope he's got his ears on. Do you want these built as Helverin or Warglaive? I'm on stream. Okay, let's see what he says. I'm going to bring this up here as well. I want to see if I can see the chat in here. Cannot. Okay. Hoping to find out if the chat's working. So if any of you are in here, if you can maybe just type a yes, chat works. And then that way I know it's done. But in the meantime, when we're building these units, there will be certain things that are very standard about them. Like it tells you here, you're going to build part A23 and A7, put them together with A28. So we know we're going to do this times 2. So we know we're doing times 2. So here's the funny thing. I'm going to show you guys this. My eyesight, not super great. Also, these things here, super, super small. You can kind of see numbers on there, but super, super small. So I get to wear these things. This has helped me a lot when I'm looking for things. It also helps me if I turn the light up a little bit. Oops, change the brightness. Where are we at? There we go. And then this is light up. There we go. That should help me quite a bit. But yeah, win for these, eh? My wife just makes fun of me nonstop when she sees me wearing this thing, which I guess it's her prerogative. She has to live with me, so I guess that's her a right that she has earned. And you guys can make fun of me too, because you have to watch me wear them. Let me see here. So that's the fun part. Looking through all the sprues, trying to find what it is. Like you can identify some of the stuff on here. Obviously, if this is the Warglaive setup, you're going with these giant chainsaws and big guns, and then there'll be different parts. They come with a lot of extra parts, a lot of stuff that you don't need, depending on how you're going to build it. So in this case here, I'm still trying to find, got to be on here. I'm looking for A23, A7. So if this is the A, 33, 31. Where are we at here? Is it on here? There's 31. I am looking for 28, which is this big guy here. So one of the things I loved about the old hobby days with the RC, Tamiya. You got to cut all these plastics out of the sprues. And I've used a handful of different companies so far, but nothing holds up or works like these Tamiya snips do. I picked these up at Skycraft a long time ago. The Citadel ones that I had lasted me absolutely no time at all. And then the Citadel ones I had lasted me no time at all. And then I had another set, I forget what company they were. They were dull immediately. I've been using these Tamiya ones. Of course, they're triple the price, but I've been using these forever, and they still snip absolutely perfect. And the reason why that's important is because when you're going through stuff like this, when you clip off these little guys, if your snips aren't sharp, it doesn't clip them. it just mushes them. And then next thing you know, your plastic looks all goofy because it's just mushed. Now, what I then do, hobby knife, dull. It's not super sharp. I've been using the same blade for a long time. What I'll do is I'll just use it to shave that up a bit, and then I scrape it backwards. And that's just to make sure that everything is off. I don't have any flashing or anything left on it. And then I'll usually use the back side of it as well because it's much stronger. And then when I want to get to the end of it, these little sanding sticks I also picked up from Skycraft. Just give it a little, like one of these, just to get the edges cleaned up. Now, these things, of course, are all going to get glued together. Of course, they're all going to also get painted. So they'll be glued, primed, painted. So any small little defects might just get covered up with glue. Now, there are some people in the hobby land that actually go so far as to put putty and stuff on everything that there might be like a small, not error, but like a small, not defect, what's what I'm looking for, like a dimple, or if they cut too deep, or if they put a mark on it, or if they mar it in some way, or if they, or where two body panels come together, if they don't seal absolutely correctly, they'll use putties, milliput, stuff like that to absolutely make it smooth and make it look like one solid piece of metal. If you look here, there's a line in there. It's a mold line. This is from the actual mold press itself. I like to get these out, just the back side of the blade. Just kind of give it a rub through, and it will peel most of it out. You don't have to go too deep. And then what I'll do is I'll take this and just give it a quick one of these just to make sure it's nice and smooth. At the end, just like everything, right? Like if you're painting the walls in your house, where you start, it's all about how much work you put into it at the beginning is going to very much dictate what it's going to look like at the end. Because if you keep mold lines or you don't sand some of this stuff down, what ends up happening at the end is by the time you put primer on it, it will be even more noticeable. Then when you put a couple more layers of paint on it, then it'll be even more noticeable. And then when you just keep going from there, you might have to do some touch-ups, more noticeable. And then when you start doing highlights, more noticeable. So do the work at the beginning. It will make this thing take forever, but that's a part of the hobby, right? Like just go through and spend the time and just chill out. I'll put on a bunch of videos. I'll put on some tunes. I'll wear my headphones. I do it while I'm building them, and I absolutely, definitely do it while I'm painting them because the painting is probably the part that I appreciate the most. I will typically, let me see, welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy. Yeah, learn more. I don't need to learn more. I just need to know if this works. I can see my chat box here. Welcome to everyone in... Perfect. I don't know what my latency is right now. When I used to do the RC stuff, I used to be able to count like 29 seconds. Like it was like 29 seconds between... Yeah, Tim. Okay, Tim, I'm glad you're here. I need to know, how do you want it? Do you want them as the Helverines with the two big guns, or do you want them as the Warglaive with the little chainsaw arms? You tell me. The top one. You want these ones? Okay, I'll do that one. Okay, then you can go to bed if you need to. No, I'm kidding. You can hang out for as long as you need to. But thank you for helping me know that the chat works. Microphone settings all sound okay? On my screen here, I can see I'm bouncing off the yellow, and every once in a while I clip into the red. But I want to make sure that I'm not ruining people's cell phones with the volume of my voice. Or maybe I do want to, I guess. All four. You want all four of them as Helverines. Okay, I can make that work out. I can make that work. What was I doing? 823. Oh. That's why I didn't find what I was looking for. I was looking for the... Is that the 23? Hell yeah, it is. I was looking for the wrong part the whole time. What else am I looking for? See, Tim, you showed up and you helped me. Way to go. A7. So pulled out A28 already. Gotcha. Okay. A23, A7. Done. Look at that. You showed up and everything just came together. Tim, what's your yeah, sound amazing. Yeah, but is it the microphone or are you just giving me compliments again? Tim, drop everybody your Instagram on here so they can see the stuff that you've been painting. In one of the previous videos, I showed them the chaplain that you painted for me, and that thing was like epic beyond. I should probably get used to putting this in the here. That thing was absolutely epic, and thank you. But I think that some of the people who watch this in the future should know where all this stuff is going. Oh, hi, Jen. And then so that they can go check it out because your painting is amazing. Tim lets me build his units, which is one of the it's the word I'm looking for. It's like an opportunity to just relax and chill, and I love it. I just love being able to just like hang out with these little plastic models and some tunes, or sometimes I'll listen to lore videos. Major Kill, Arbiter Ian. Downloaded a couple of the ebooks for the Blood Angel stuff because I'm not going to insult anybody and say that I am a Blood Angels player, but I will be honest and say I am a Blood Angels collector because I have it all. Also collect for my wife the Adeptus Sororitas, the Sisters of Battle, which is one of the neater armies to paint. Very intricate, very difficult, but very satisfying to do, which is super cool. And nothing like the story behind the Adepta. It's hardcore. If there's any of you RC or sim racing guys, if you ever want to dig into something that's just can't believe the world that has been created, get into some of the Warhammer 40k lore videos. It is bonkers the level of detail, the history of this game, the level of storytelling and everything like that that people have created over the years to help everyone understand. And everybody has an army that they can kind of, the word I'm looking for, they can kind of, I don't think you want to side with anyone because no one's a good guy. It's one of the neat things that you'll learn when it comes to the Warhammer stuff. No one is a good guy. There are varying degrees of bad guys, but nobody is a good guy. Even the people that are touted as being the good guys are not really nice people. You know, the Emperor of Mankind, kind of selfish, kind of an absent dad, kind of just let the universe kind of just roast a little bit, but also a bit of a tyrant, I guess you could call it. He didn't really have to go and take over all those worlds for domination, but you know, it's part of his plan. It's part of what he did. But I'm not going to get into it. Go check it out. It is so neat. A7. Where's A7? See, I'm looking for this little guy right here. A7. You always got to try to find something that's the same shape, but the numbers are on here. 15, 5, 21. Is it on here? Or is it on there? Bango, there it is. Even though I'm needing to be doing this all times 2, I'm just going to do it times 1 tonight to see how far I can get through one of these units. How much of this can I put together in front of y'all to keep you entertained and show you what I'm up to? There's obviously, again, there's a lot of tedious work on these, but that's it's actually why I'm streaming it. I like chatting, hanging out, and essentially talking to myself. It's funny, I noticed I took out my YouTube partner program a long time ago because for tax purposes, it was a bit annoying that they kept sending me money every month, a little bit, but kept sending me money every month that was almost completely being taken by the California government for tax purposes. California withholds the taxes. But the funny part about that, and being Canadian, having to pay taxes to California, but I get it, that's where YouTube is. But it's funny because having the partner program actually cost me money every year because I was never making enough money after Adpocalypse, the PewDiePie thing so many years ago, to even pay an accountant to do business taxes. I got to remember to keep this in the camera. So I shut down the YouTube partner program, and I had it shut down for so long that when I turned the channel kind of back on and started making videos again, I have to start all over again, which is not a problem. But in doing these videos already and changing my topic, I've already seen past subscribers just dropping out, which I don't blame you. I actually, in a sense, I would actually kind of encourage you to remove it if I'm not doing what interested you anymore, because I had a lot of people, I still actually have a lot of people that joined my Instagram for remote control car stuff when I haven't posted anything about RC cars in forever. And I had considered pulling it all out this year, rebuilding the trucks and getting back out on the paths and getting out and just doing fun scale days with my kid and Tosh. But we have to go get Tosh a new knee. She needs a knee, not replacement, rebuild, restructure, I guess, reconstruction. She needs a knee reconstruction. So that was scheduled for a couple weeks ago, and then we got a phone call at 6:30 in the morning to say, oh yeah, another absolutely clutch thing from the hobby world that is absolutely amazing with this stuff. How did that go on there? Always make sure you know exactly how this has to get glued on. And the reason why I say that is because this plastic will melt to the other plastic. So you make sure it's done correctly, because after they melt together, they live together, and that is their new home. And there's not a lot you can do about it. Sorry, this is part of the learning. I got to keep it in frame. So I'll throw that on there. Now, this plastic cement from Tamiya, I've used some other companies. They're decent, but you just don't get better than Tamiya. It's just how it is. You don't need to use very much of it. The more you use, the actual harder it is to get anything to stick together. So you just use a little bit. A little dabble-do, as they used to say. There's always little, you see there, that's like a little pilot hole. So it's kind of showing you like, yeah, this is where the part's going to land. So a little wipe down. And then just like that. Make sure it's on there nice and solid. Make sure you hold it in place for a little bit. You don't need to hold it too tight. Again, this stuff will melt the plastic together. This stuff I like because it doesn't really stick to your skin. Like I can wipe off the excess and it doesn't glue my skin together. It's a cement for plastic. It's not like using CA glue for RC stuff. CA glue actually doesn't work with this stuff worth of crap. But this plastic cement is absolutely amazing, and you can get different droppers or different types of bottles in different other companies. But this little Tamiya brush, that is my favorite, and I like the smell of it too. A4 and A8. Okay, so we look back on here. I believe this was A4 right here. So I'll just let that sit off to the side. Snip out A4. And then I'll go find A8, which I believe was on this one. Tell me if you see A8. That's a 6. There's A8 right there. Perfect. All right. Now, again, I mentioned before, this channel is going to become more of a personal interest channel. My opportunity to kind of hang out. I know there'll be a few people that will stay and hang out with me. I'm looking forward to it. When his schedule returns, maybe Palcar will be back. Vince is usually traveling, so sometimes he'll log in if he gets the notification. Of course, Tim, of course, he wants to watch. He's actually like, yeah, do my stuff on camera. Because this game is like life for him. But a lot of the content that I'm going to be putting on here is box openings of Magic the Gathering cards. And I am a player. Tash and I play quite a bit. We play Precon Commander, which it's funny. We committed to playing with Precons because back when I was younger, much younger, 17 years old, younger, that goes back almost 30 years. Used to do a lot of standard play back then. And of course, when you're playing that, it's almost like a keeping up with the Joneses as far as building your decks. You're constantly spending more money than you realize that you had, just trying to, I guess, keep up with the Joneses when it comes to the newest, hottest cards, the newest, hottest meta, being able to kill somebody faster. It was all very competitive. I used to travel on the weekends to go to tournaments and stuff like that, just local hobby shops, but I was living in a town that, and I didn't have a car, so I would have been maybe 16, 17 years old. Didn't have a car. My friends, I was the oldest of everybody, so we used to just catch buses. It's $48 a weekend, and that was almost 30 years ago, to catch a bus to travel a half an hour to go from Fort Erie, Ontario to St. Catharines, Ontario. Then we'd hop off the bus, we'd go to an old place called Phoenix Rising, and get our asses absolutely handed to us for a day. And I say that because as much as we tried, it wasn't happening. Some of the guys up there were just, they just had it figured out. And these guys played with each other nonstop. So they had decks that they knew would beat everybody else's deck there. And of course, in doing that, they would absolutely whoop our asses, no problem. Anybody who's in the Magic world would have maybe heard of a guy, a YouTube channel called The Magic Historian. That's Hatcher. He was one of the guys that used to absolutely kick my ass when I was a kid. Just whoop me up and down. Every time I got paired up against him, you might as well just pack your stuff up and leave, because you're not, at least I could never beat him. Some of my best buds, Gary, back in the day, Sean McCooey, stuff like that, we used to all just play, and it was so much fun. It's more fun, obviously, playing with your friends on a weekend night, just hanging out at somebody's house, doing whippets and playing Magic. But every once in a while, you get out of town to go test yourself somewhere else, and realize very quickly that you need to go back home and just play with your friends, because that's the safer way to go. Which side does this go up? I like to pay attention exactly to the artwork. That's going to go vent side up. It will be a learning curve, guys, with me making sure that I keep stuff in frame. I have a camera mounted on the front of the desk, so you can see this cable right here. This is the camera that's just clamped to the desk, pointing down. So where you see me doing this is because I have to look around the camera to see the subject that I'm working on. So there's a little, not little, these new 4K cameras are actually quite massive in the way. And that's why I don't know if you can hear me or not, because the microphone's up here and I'm talking down here. And if I look on the screen, I can see, so I'm looking at the top of my eyeballs here. I can see that when I'm talking like this, I'm way higher up the sound level. And if I go like this, it goes further down. So I hope that you can still hear me okay. This is what I've got so far. So this is kind of the main, appears to be the main part of the torso. So if you can see, all that time we've been on here now for 30 minutes, and I've built that much so far. But I mean, a lot of that was trying to find those two pieces. So now, of course, we're going into A9, and I'm going to slap that on the top. And you can see, like, it's easy enough. You just go piece by piece. Make sure when you're doing this, don't start going ahead and clipping out things that you don't need yet, that maybe you need later. Because I promise you, you're not going to remember what it was. Unless you are building these things nonstop, you won't remember what it is. You will lose parts. I threw a bunch of stuff into a bag a long time ago and said I'll get back to this, and I don't know what they are anymore. I know when I bought the Leviathan box set, what I did was I sat at the table one night just feeling productive. I sat at the table one night and snipped out. Imagine if I'd gone through ahead of time, snipped out all the parts, and did this, right? Clipped off all of the extra pieces, went through and got all of the extra mold lines and stuff off, and I went through and I didn't glue any of them together because I just wasn't feeling like doing that at that moment. I just wanted to go through and just do stuff like this, like just shave the edges off and sand them down a little bit. Then what happened was I put them away, and actually there's a whole pile of them still in bags over there, and I forgot what they were. So I was going through the bag one day and I wanted to start building the Terminators because, you know, my history with Warhammer is back when I used to play Magic when I was like 17 years old. The hobby shop that I went to, in order to walk back to the Magic section, you had to pass across the Warhammer section. And back then, you know, there were some plastic models, but a lot of the models back then, a lot of the good models back then, were all made out of pewter, and they were all cast in metal. And Chaos Terminators might be one of the coolest things you've ever seen if you're into like gothic horror. So I bought a handful of those and I painted them up. But I didn't know the lore. I didn't know the stories. I didn't know the forces. I did not have enough money to sustain my Magic habit and a Warhammer habit. So I just painted them. Now I painted them horribly. Like I actually feel bad now for what I did to those models. Okay, this would be on the top. So this goes like this. Anyway, I feel bad now, like hindsight being 2020, for what I did to those models. It was, I did them no justice, that's for sure. There we go, that's a fit. I did them no justice for what they should have been. They were absolutely amazing models back then, and if I still had some of those pewter things, oh, they'd be worth a fortune. But I don't, because I painted them like a monkey, and I just like slopped paint on, and I didn't know how to thin stuff down, and you know, and I bent stuff, right? Because like you would just get all rammy with it, and I didn't prime anything, so all of the amazing intricate detail that's molded into these models was just lost with just slapping paint on everything. Like these things here too, like the amount of detail that's in these, like you have to understand that this is like, here's my pinky. That's my thumb. What can I give you that is a correct reference? Here is a pen. Look at the size of this model compared to a pen. So the detail in here is amazing. If you don't thin your paints out correctly, or you put too many layers of paint on, you will lose all this detail. It'll just look horrible. But if you thin everything out correctly, you do it correctly, you take some time, please take some time. Appreciate your models. Now, some people do army painting where it's like, oh my God, I got 400 of these units to paint and I just want to slap paint on them and call it a day. I can't bring myself to do that. A11, let's see, I'm looking for A11, A12. I can't bring myself to do that. So I take, even on my most basic models, it takes me usually about 4 hours. And that's one of the reasons why I had such a hard time finishing my painting. What was I looking for again? A11, A12. There's A12. And that's 10. Okay, well, I know I need this. So A12. So A12 and A11. What was A11 look like? Yeah. Don't think it's on this one. Where is it? Right? Oh, right there, A11. Dear, I thought these were both 10s, but this is the 11 and this is the 10. So A11, that makes sense because it's opposite. Okay. So you can kind of see the mold lines on there a little bit. So you just kind of, again, use the back. I used to use the back of the blade. There's mold removing tools, and I did spend the money to buy one, and it's pretty okay, but the back of the hobby knife just works better for me. It's also nice to just put one tool on the desk. So I can use the back of that. And then when I need to, like this, I can use the front of it. And then right there, you know what, I'll clip that off. And then use the front of the blade just to shave that off, and then use the back of the blade to take any high spots off. And then I'll grab the little file, make sure I'm happy with it. Now what I'll also do here, well, I gotta do this side, hold on. 1, 2, 3. There was a fourth one, but I don't know where it is. Just shave it. And again, I don't like to use a super sharp blade. One, because there's a scar on my finger right here where I used a hobby knife with a sharp blade and I cut all the way in, like sideways, like whack. It was cutting something and I cut myself so badly. So that's a pretty funny story. I'll tell that story. So we're sitting there the one day. This is back when we had just opened Average Joe's, and I was getting some parts set up for a client and getting a kit built. And I needed to use a hobby knife, and I forget exactly what the part was. I do remember it was an OFNA kit, like a jammin' OFNA kit. And I remember I was setting it up for a client, and it was just myself and Tosh in the hobby shop at that time. And she was sitting behind me, and she saw I was playing with the knife, and she goes, "Careful, man, you're going to cut yourself." And I remember making a smart-ass remark, being like, "I'm not going to cut myself." And then within a couple seconds later, I really cut myself. And I remember thinking, "Oh, shit." She just told me not to do that and that I was going to do it. So I grabbed my finger and I went out the back and I said, "I'll be right back." And I went out the back and I went to the washroom and I cleaned it up and I came back in and she goes, "How badly did you cut yourself?" I said, "How can you tell I cut myself?" And she goes, "I followed the trail of blood. I was bleeding so badly that from where I cut myself to the washroom, there were like drops like the size of I don't know, loonies if you're in Canada. If you're in the States, I don't know. Maybe dollar coins, I don't know, or 50-cent coins or whatever you guys are using now. Massive blood everywhere. There was no doubt about it that I was bleeding over everything. Okay, this is going to glue onto this guy. Where does he go? 1, 2. It's going to go on right here. Yeah, that makes sense. See? Just like that. So see how it gives you a couple holes to poke it into? And then a place to support it up there as well. So I will get a little bit of this right here. A little bit of this right here. Stick a little bit of this right here. And go. And you don't have to hold it for long. Just make sure it stays in place. This Tamiya stuff is phenomenal. Now, to paint something like this as a game piece, you just kind of slap it together as much as quickly as you want to. And then when you paint it later, you prime it out. And Tim, I forget what you said before. It just has to look good from 5 feet above, because when you're playing the game, you're playing from above. You're looking at the units. Who cares what it looks like underneath? You don't have to get super detailed with your painting. You just really want it to be on the table. Otherwise, you will lose years and years of your life painting for a unit that might suck. But if you just kind of live by the rule that like it just needs to look good from 5 feet above, and if I remember correctly, in order to play in any type of like official sanctioned event from Games Workshop or a lot of hobby shops, they require you to have at least 3 colors on your model. They require you to paint your models because they want you to have a kind of a commitment to it, a minimum level of commitment to playing this game, that you will at least make an attempt to make your stuff look good and kind of immerse yourself in. For me, I add every color. If I could remember where I put all my paint, it's in the dresser over here somewhere. I have more colors than I can ever imagine. Like I bought colors where I literally only needed to put one dot on something, like one dot on one model, and I paid to buy the color. But it is what it is, and it helps because you can experiment, which I don't do. I know that sounds funny to say. I actually have a book that I have my recipe, I call it, written down in, which is note for note exactly how I painted. So the Blood Angels army, quite easy to paint. Black, red, some gold, really easy to paint. My wife's army, she chose the Order of the Argent Shroud, and that one was not that easy to paint because it requires many colors, many layers of many colors, different silvers, different grays, different whites. There's like multiple places where you shade whites with off whites because, on the grand scheme of things, white on a model doesn't really look like anything. You have to paint it off white and then highlight it with white in order to be able to get a contrast. Same works with black. There are different blacks where you actually might use a black mixed with different colors just to lighten up different areas to kind of give it a contrast. You can see I got this other little smokestack all set up. These would be machines, so of course they're going to have some kind of little smokestack. Dab in here, little dab in here. Bingo. See? It's starting to turn into a unit. Sort of. It's a lot of steps. A lot of steps. Let me see here. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, so now we're looking for, so this step is done. Step number 2. Well, actually, that's only 1C. Now we're on to 1D. So now I need A19 and A1. A19, I thought I saw on here. This little, that's A27. 18 and A1. Maybe it's on this one. There's A1. So that's this big unit here. That's number 1. And A19 is probably a little bit larger than I thought it was. But let's check this one again. It's A27. A19 is this? That doesn't make any sense. It says A19. That doesn't look like the part. Help me out, guys. A19. See? A19 is this little thing here. But look. A19 is this big part here. A27 is that part. Does that make any sense? I know this is A1. I'm going to get this part done here. One. I gotta try to mark off this area so I know what I'm holding this under. Because I keep looking at the screen and realizing that I'm fading off this way. Okay, so there's that. So that's going to go on the front of this little guy's head. It'll go here like that. Then I'll clean up that edge line a little bit. Now, once these are painted, you want to paint them well, but once these are painted, don't be upset. People will be picking them up. People will be setting them down. You will drop them. They will chip. So I want to make sure that I'm using a good quality glue to hold them together because nothing sucks more than when parts start flying off. Okay, now I got to figure this part out. Okay, so again, let's talk about this. It's calling for A19. Okay, A19 is that part right there. And it's not A61 because there's A22. You see its orientation, that's A19. But it looks like it's A27. So if I look through here, there's no other A19. Let me take a look at this one. There's no part on here that looks like that. And let's look at this one. There's no part on there. I go over here. A27 is A19. It's not. It can't be right. That can't be right. Okay, hold on. Let me look at the rest of the book. That other part, I wonder if it's labeled incorrectly somewhere else. So if that part, what does that look like somewhere else? Right there. It's listed as A19 here too. So that part here is correct. A19. They must mean A27. Now, that's gotta be it. It looks exactly like it, but here's the problem. If I cut it off and it's not it, I'll lose it. Not lose it like go crazy. I'll lose it like I'll lose this part. But if I look here, see the 2 dots? That's gotta be it. I'm gonna use it. Sorry, Tim, if it's not it. Call GW. It's their fault. Should have labeled their stuff correctly. At least we'll remember that for the other 3, right? Anyway, one of the things I was talking about earlier with attack stuff and getting oh, there it is. Getting that stuff back is in order to get my YouTube stuff back, I need to have X amount of subscribers, which I have. I think it's like 1,000. But I have to have 3,000 hours worth of watched video in a period of 365 days. The funny part about that is it's 365 rolling days. So if somebody watched 10 hours of my videos, see, I gotta put it on this part. If somebody watched 10 hours of my videos 364 days ago, tomorrow morning when I wake up and that becomes older, that will be removed from my totals that I'm aiming for. Is it pointed forward, right? Yep, pointed forward. So it's like a, there we go. It's officially part 27 where part 19 is supposed to be, but that's how we roll. This one here, I'll clean this up a little bit more a little bit later. There's no ridge there, but I'll clean that up a little bit more later. And then when Tim gets a hold of it, he'll make that perfect before he does his final paint. But this is where we're at so far. So machine head, little smoky stackies, little handle. My guess is there's probably a driver in there. It's one of the neat things about the Warhammer lore. GW makes mistakes all the time. Yes, they do. They do. One of the neat things about the lore when it comes to the Warhammer stuff is that due to the age of technology and all the heresy that's involved with it, you're not allowed to have AI anymore. So even things like servitors and dreadnoughts are actually like dreadnoughts, which let me show you one because they're one of the coolest things ever. This is a dreadnought. This is a sarcophagus. There is a nearly dead space marine in there, and that's all he sees. And this is a space marine who fallen in battle and gets locked into a sarcophagus with whatever's left of him and hooked up to this giant ass machine, and will spend the rest of his, what do you want to call this, living? Like, do you actually call being stuck in this machine forever as living? It'd be the rest of your time serving the Emperor in that machine, because until death, you know, duty, what do they say? Until death, duty continues, or duty's only final in death. I forget what it is. But yeah, even though you got your ass kicked and you just get locked into a machine and you spend the rest of your life there. What do we got here? Okay, I'm looking for 31, 33, A31, A33. 31 and 33. There we go. So 1, 2. I don't know if you can hear how perfect that clip is. Let me see if I can get it up here. Oh, so perfect. These scissors, these snips are so good. For anybody who's into a hobby like this, don't sleep on your remote control supplies. Remote control car supplies are absolutely amazing for this stuff. I need this camera to color itself correctly again. Am I having fun building them, Tim? Yes, I am. Just talking to myself for 54 minutes. I guess I'm talking to you too, but talking to myself for 54 minutes. I have to talk to my shrink and find out whether that's normal. It's like, is it normal just to chat with myself and entertain myself like this for as long as I am? And he'll be like, you did what? And then the question always is when you talk to yourself, does it make you crazy? It's when you answer yourself. And I have definitely been doing that. What's funny is sometimes when I was doing live streams with the RC or with the sim racing stuff, I would talk so much, I would blow my voice out, and it actually was harder at work the next day because I blow my voice out and I talk for a living, and I would just go to work and be like, eh. And And yeah, so one of the reasons why I selected the Space Marines or the Adepta Astartes, um, no, Adepta Astartes, Adepta Sororita, the Astartes Warriors, with coming back to Warhammer and looking to play was because of these guys. Not specifically this one, but dreadnoughts. To me, dreadnoughts are one of the neatest things. So I wanted armies that had dreadnoughts. And then when I started looking into the lore of stuff, I thought that the Blood Angels were the absolute coolest because growing up, I loved vampires and werewolves. And the Blood Angels, if you look into their lore, they're basically space vampires. Then I spent a lot of money and bought a lot of yeah, Tim, I saw that. Which is fine, because like, let's be real. Am I ever really gonna play this game? I didn't mean to say that to make you cry. I will play it, I promise. What I probably will do is get you to bring me your armies, and I will play with your armies, and you can teach me how to play. And we'll do that. But yeah, so I spent a lot of money on Blood Angels, and then my wife said, that's pretty damn cool. I want to do the Nuns with Guns, the Adeptus Sororitas. So we bought her a giant army as well. And again, I don't have either of them completed. What's really funny, though, is I bought us both combat patrols. And as soon as I got our combat patrols finished, actually, that's not true. I did not finish Tosh's combat patrol because I do not want to paint that stupid... Tim, what's that machine called? Like the big walkie guy with the person stuck in it. The penitent engine. I did not want to paint the penitent engine. I refuse, and that was a part of her combat patrol. So I just let that one sit until it was no longer a part of the combat patrol anymore. So it actually took me so long to paint all this stuff that the combat patrols that we had purchased are no longer relevant. Combat patrols are very specifically made to have a certain points value and play in a certain way so that everybody, it's almost like Magic the Gathering Commander. Everybody has a set number point and a set army with set rules, and Commander or combat patrol plays a little bit differently. So from the time that I bought these combat patrols and still haven't, I finished painting the one of them, the Blood Angels one, until anyway, I finished the Blood Angels one, didn't finish the Adepta one. Whole new combat patrols came out, and the ones that I have, it was Penitent Engine, Tim, because there's just so much detail on it. If you guys want to see some neat detail and you're not into the Warhammer stuff, go Google search a Penitent Engine and look for Google images. It is gnarly, like just far out gnarly. Which is why you'll see with all of the different level of detail why I do not ever plan on painting it, although she has asked me to very nicely, and she was very nice about asking. Tim, am I going to be putting these on bases, or are you going to base them yourself and then stick them on later? Just let me know for when I get to that point, because I know you do an expert job at basing, and I don't even try. Ain't about that yet. 35 and 39. It's 39. And that's 35. 5. 39. It'll only go together one way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I count them out because I need to remind myself how many spots I need to look for. So I know I counted 6, so I have to look for 6 spots to touch up. If I skip one, if I can't find it right now, everything will seem hunky-dory until later when I see it, and I'll be like, oh, it's put together, and now I can't get at it. And it will make me bonkers. And every time I pick up the model, I will remember that it is there. I did my wife's little Rhino tank for her Adepta, and there was a part that I could have painted before I put it together. And even though I know that we will never see inside of it because everything is glued together and you physically cannot get inside of it, it just bothers me a little tiny bit knowing that it is not done. 1, 2, 3. There's 4. There's 5. And 6 is right there. Some of the stuff on the rounds will be easier to sand when I put them together. I might 3D print. Okay, you'll base them. So do not glue it on the base, is what I am getting from that. Do not glue it on the base. See, 39. I feel like I keep hitting the camera with my goggles. The Googles. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There we go. Make sure this is the correct one. And it is. And yes, Tim, I think you should 3D print casualties as well. And you have the better printer for that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, that's a good one. And then 6 is right here. So this week, Magic the Gathering. Yes, don't glue them on the bases. Cool thing about this army is they can also be used in Warhammer 30k. Yes, the Horus Heresy. This week in Magic the Gathering, the Final Fantasy Universes Beyond set will be released, which means we'll probably be doing some box openings. The goal is to get 4 or 5 play boxes, not the collector's boxes. Normally we would get collector's boxes, but collector's boxes for this set are obscenely expensive. And based on what I'm seeing online, not necessarily worth the additional money that you have to spend. So I was watching some videos today, and they were talking about how even at the pre-release prices, where pre-release prices are bonkers, insane amount of money, like a $100 card will sell for $300 because people just make sure that they have it first. Or alternatively, they're afraid that the $100 will become $600. So I was looking today, and in America, people are paying $700 a box for these boxes, and they're saying at like $500 a box, sure, open it up. But if you're paying more than $500 for the box, leave it sealed. Don't ever open it. Just keep it as a sealed box forever and eventually sell it as a sealed box because you will not make your money back. Now, for the people who want to play the game, you do not have to have these astronomically expensive versions of these cards. You can just use, because almost all of these cards, well, all of these cards you can get in the collector's box, you can get in a normal play box in a different version of the card. It does not have to be the shiniest alternative art version of the card. So instead of paying so what would be in Canadian money, $1,000 a box, I can get away with spending 1,000 plus tax, so 1,000 plus. So the selling rate now at most places for usually about 940 to $1,100 a box, and that's 12 packs of 15 cards. At $240 a play box, I can get a lot more cards. Now, mind you, there are going to be a lot of commons. They're not going to have the most expensive versions of the cards. There's no chance of getting one of the serial chocobos, which is fine, because if there's one thing we've learned selling collectible trading cards online is the 10 to $20 card will sell right away. The $100 card takes you weeks and weeks for the right buyer to find that card. So there's no need as a store, because again, for those of you who haven't seen those videos yet, Tosh has opened a business selling Magic the Gathering cards online. There's a leg. Magic the Gathering cards online from home business, and it's been doing quite fantastic, quite phenomenal actually. What am I looking for? I'm looking for number 16, which is 16 right here. So we're hoping to get, I would like to get 4 or 5 play boxes. And 4 or 5 play boxes is going to cost me about the same as buying one collector box at this point, based on the pricing that I'm seeing. So then, yes, we will wind up with a lot of commons, but the commons sell because people need them for their decks. And of course, everything's a lot more expensive because it is the Final Fantasy IP, intellectual property. So there's licensing involved, but it's already proven that just from the pre-sale, this has been the highest selling Magic the Gathering set in the history of Magic the Gathering. So it's big. So we're hoping, okay, so if I do it that way, and this is going to go on that way, yes. Probably won't go on the other way, so we'll probably know that right away. Yeah, hold on. Almost had it wrong. See? You look here, so the knee goes forward. So it would be that way. Bingo? Is that it? No. Bingo? No. What am I doing? Oh, because I'm looking at the wrong picture. Yeah, that's the right way. That's it right there. Bingo. So, see? Yeah. So see how this picture is right here? If I look at it at this direction, see? Knee is over top of the single toe. If I look at it on this picture, knee is over top of the single toe. Blink. Worst case scenario, I screw it up and I buy Tim a new model. Because that would have been my fault. So there's a leg. And I need another piece for that. I need A30, which looks like that part right there. 2, 3, 4. There we go. Two, 3, and 4. See, these ones are so tight together that this is why I like to use a dull knife. I am less likely to prove my wife right again, which is that I will cut myself and bleed all over the place. Tim, does it make you happy to know that your stuff's going together now? Tim has been very polite. He dropped these off to me. I don't remember how long ago. Let's call it a lifetime. And he's been so polite in just little gentle reminders. Gonna need those by the end of June. Rip it off and glue it. These are going to battle down. Yeah. But no, he's been so polite and just little gentle reminders. Hey, I'm gonna need these soon. And I'm like, yeah. I know. And I did have every intention of building them. And I am now. Funny part. Here's the funny part for the people watching. I knew that I wanted to do this on video. I knew that I wanted to build these on video. That was a fact. And it was funny because I wanted to do them on video and I wanted to bring this channel back. And I wanted to do more things that I was interested in. My son, he's 11 years old. He wants to be a YouTuber as well. So I'm going through things with him to kind of go through and show him different things that people on YouTube have to do. And it was actually really interesting. A while ago, the guys from Mini Wargaming let me take my son and my wife to their studio and review their entire setup, which was phenomenal. Thank you, Josh, for taking me there. Thank you, Matt and Dave, for creating such a neat thing with your staff. Because I wanted to show them that the YouTube stuff is so much more than just make a video, put video online. I wanted to show them the behind the scenes, and I wanted to show them the amount of, like, the editors were all there. Like, they have a full staff. It's actually pretty amazing. If you're ever in Niagara and you want to see one of the neatest things, go to Mini Wargaming. They've got such a neat setup there. Call them ahead of time. They'll do tours with you. Anyway, I knew that I wanted to do this on video. I knew I wanted to restart the YouTube channel. But then the nerves and the anxiety kicked in. Because I'm not a nervous or anxious person. But through all my years of doing the YouTube stuff, you take a lot of hate. You take a lot of anger. You take a lot of just absolute bullshit. So all the RC stuff really started to grind me down. Then I moved into the sim racing stuff, and that really started, like, that continued to really grind me down. And then I just dumped it all. I just cold turkey, shut it all down. I actually changed my Instagram little quote to living life without an audience. And the idea was I was just going to go back to just being me and living life and doing my thing. And just in doing whatever I wanted to do and enjoying it. But then my son's shown so much interest in doing the YouTube thing that I said, okay, I'll tell you what, buddy, I'm going to make some videos and I'll show you how it's done. So I knew that I wanted to bring it back because he wants to get into it. So he helps with some of the box opening videos. But I wanted to do these on video and I wanted to start making videos again. But then I found every excuse every night not to do it. And I said to my wife tonight, I said, I'm going to go build the Amigers for Tim. And she said, you've been talking about doing that for like a week now. And yeah, I did. But again, leading up to it, I start to get this idea in my head, like, oh my God, I got to go make a video. I don't want to start this again. Like, I don't want to do this again. I don't want to start filming things. I don't want to start having schedules. I don't want to have to start ruining my hobbies by turning them into content. So that's one of the reasons why it took me so long to get this far, is because I was just afraid to start doing this again and taking something that I enjoy doing and starting to get back to that point where I have to start scheduling things like content and start to think, okay, what am I going to make my next Instagram post, my next video? There's a lot of pressure. Like this year, and I'm not a big YouTuber. I got 16. Here, I'll get back to this for you guys. I have 16,000 subscribers. I'm not a big YouTuber. I don't get a lot of views. But so many YouTubers this year have quit. Big ones. big ones who make multi-million dollars a year. And these are people whose entire lives are based on them doing their social media and their YouTubes and their content creation. And I just kind of went, that's not my goal. I never wanted to do that. So I don't need to start to get into this again, because my end goal is just to have an awesome family and enjoy my hobbies and hang out with my friends. But at the same point, I do like to express myself. I do like to share. Yeah, demo Matt, are you referring to Demolition Ranch? Because I know he sold all his stuff and sold his ranch, and he's going back to being a chiropractor, I believe, is his career. But yeah, like all that stuff, and I just kind of was worried, if I start doing this again, am I going to ruin my hobbies again? Yeah. I saw his video where he quit and said he was going to sell his ranch, and then I saw his video where he showed up to a gun store with all his guns in the back, and it said, "That's it. You know, I'm done." But it's crazy. It is crazy that they eventually just shut it all down. But what we did was we set a few things up to be able to start to support Tasha's new business, right? Because one of the things is we do sell it all on eBay, but the problem with the eBay selling is that first, because we're only servicing Canada right now, but we hope that in the future, as we can start to learn a little bit more, we will go into the American market as well. But that's not yet. So anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, so we started doing a few things. Now, the reason we were doing her thing on YouTube was because if you buy it from eBay in Canada, you have to pay 13% tax, and then we have to pay almost 20% in fees. Almost 20% in fees. So if we sell something for $1, by the time eBay takes their fees, we make about 84 to 83 cents. No, I did the math. If I sell something for $1 at the current status on eBay, I make 72 cents. That's what it was. 72 cents. We turned her into a store, so that made her 74 cents. And once she becomes a top seller, she will get, 72 to 74. And then once she becomes a top seller at the end of July, she will get 76 cents. Now, if she offers free shipping and a 30-day turnaround time, and she can manage to get top seller plus, then the fees will drop by 10%, and then we'll make an extra 10 cents on the dollar, as long as there are no complaints and stuff like that. So it's a lot of work to make it to work. So what we do is, and if you bought something that was worth $1, you had to then pay 13 cents in tax. So we would get docked. Something like 25 cents, and you would have to pay 13. So by putting it on YouTube, as we open the box, two things. One, you can see which cards are about to be on the store. And if you want, you can message her directly on Instagram and ask for that card outside of eBay. You just have to trust us that we're going to send it to you. So we're really only kind of encouraging people who've had previous business with us before to do that, because you don't get the same protections of eBay. So maybe if you've done a few deals with us on eBay, or you're a local pickup and you can inspect the card, but you have to trust us that we're actually giving you a good product, and that we're actually going to send it to you, because you're just going to literally e-transfer us the money. But also, you can save the 13% and we can save the 20%. That's the goal. So we put the videos up. Where's the other foot? What was the other foot's number? The other foot's number was A16. We put the videos up, and it actually worked a little bit. People would start messaging us directly and saying, "Hey, I see you just opened this card. Can I come pick that up? Or can you meet me at a local hobby store? Or can you mail that out to British Columbia?" Because British Columbia and Quebec are our biggest clients. So that's what we wanted to do. So I had to get a couple cameras anyway, because after the sim stuff shut down, I kind of got rid of the rigs and the setups and Kept the microphone because I could just lay that in the closet. Kept the lighting because I was still using it for this hobby stuff. Again, my eyesight's not super great, so what we were doing was, even when we were playing Magic the Gathering at the kitchen table, I would have to take some of my old studio lights, shine up on the table just to make it look nice and bright for me, because some of that text is really hard to read. Okay, so this one is foot. Hold on. Foot point forward, knee backwards. So like this one. That makes sense. Anyway, I kind of forget what I was talking about. Oh, anyway, so I started to do that. We started to do a couple of those videos, and I started to feel pretty good about it. But it still made me nervous that by creating a channel again and doing videos again, I was going to start to not like to do this hobby or whatever I was going to do videos on. Because let's be real, it's not just about Warhammer. It's not just about cards. It's about whatever I feel like doing. So there will be alternate stuff, which will be pretty neat. There's a couple games I'm playing that I might try to play. A little embarrassed to play the one online right now. I've been playing Planet Zomboid, and I'm horrible, but that game is so hard. Tosh and I were also playing Path of Exile for a long time. That was a lot of fun, but after you get through the actual acts of the game, it gets kind of stale. But there's more stuff coming. My son just started playing Fallout, so he's pretty into that. A new Witcher coming, although I've never played. When I say played, I played the intro to it, but I've never really played Witcher 3. This camera really is in my way. And again, I think I keep beaking it with these lenses. If you like to build stuff and you like the sci-fi world, I recommend trying these things. It's a lot of fun. Oh, okay. Story from before. Story from before was, I got into the Astartes. I got into the Space Marine section because I wanted the Juggernauts. I wanted these big mechs because that's cool. Because when I was a kid, I liked, and the Terminators. I wanted Terminators. Okay, so there's 2 legs. So a couple chicken legs are done and built. One forward, one backward. Where am I at? Oh, gotta do this part here. So chicken legs are built. This guy here, which means the chicken legs are going to bolt into here. So the knee forward is going on this side. Like that. So like this right here. They're smart. When they did these, everything just clicks into place. There you go. Anyway, I picked the Blood Angels because I love vampires as a kid. So that just made sense. Then Tosh wanted an army, so we got her to the Adepta. And then I started to realize that, oh, that's the wrong side. It's got to go on this side. Oh, that's me not paying attention and just about, see what I just did there, Tim? I just about glued the legs on backwards. Okay. Front, here we go. Bang, done. And then that glue's already set on there. So this is going to go back here. Bang, done. You guys just about watched like the silliest mistake. There. That is how it's supposed to be. See? Picture. Things in the butt. There's the butt. There it is. See? This is in the front. That goes there. There was a cap to that. Where has it gone on yet? I must have missed a part in a previous step. Oh yeah, I missed that part right there. A32. I'll find that. It's funny when they don't look the same. Is this it? Yep, A32. Anyway, so my other favorite thing growing up was werewolves. So I started digging into the lore a little bit more. Only, yeah, Tim, I'm guessing you're logging off now. I'm actually going to cut out soon as well. I think after I get these legs glued on, I'm going to end it for tonight. and then I'll have something more to do another day because I still have to work my long shift tomorrow. Anyway, so I started looking into the lore, and I was like, oh man, it'd be really cool if there was like space werewolves too. And it turns out the space wolves are space werewolves. So after we dropped all the dough on Tasha's army, the Adepta Sororitas, I then figured out that there were space werewolves. And I have not bought them yet, but I might. I was just waiting to see if they were going to release Lehman Russ back, if he was coming back from wherever he is hiding. And I also want some orcs because orcs are hella cool. I don't want to play with them, although I probably would because they're so random. But painting them is so Mad Max, and that's what I like about it. So that cap's on, legs are done, that unit's done. Then what's next? We are gluing it to the base, which we've already discussed with Tim we are not doing. And then little bits there. Okay, so here's how far I'll get. I'll do these little bits on the inside of the legs, and then I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to stop at step 2G because we're not gluing them to the base. Tim said don't glue them to the base. Later, Tim. Have yourself an amazing night, and thank you for hanging out. 29 to A20. Right. Oh, these are small. Look at how small these are. I'm going to pass on these ones tonight. I'm going to call this one done for the night. So you can see here, this is eventually going to go on here. See? I'll have to pick the angle in which it will sit. That will sit on there. That's cool. So tonight, we built the machine head. The legs, the chicken legs. Got to get a couple little Dewey supports. They're going to go into here, but it's late and I don't have the dexterity to be able to do that tonight. And that's what I'm going to do. So hold on. All right, I'm taking these things off. These things are horrible. So that's it for now. These will get better. I've always promised that stuff in the background and stuff like that will always get better. Here's that other camera. This thing is a Brio 4K. Really nice camera. Did a lot of research on that one. One of those, what's the word I'm looking for? Paralysis, information paralysis moments where I did so much research on something that I couldn't make a decision. That's what happened with that one. But that's it, guys. I'm not going to do my normal thing where I talk for 45 minutes after I say I'm going to shut it down. I'm just going to shut it down. Machine head, chicken legs. Thank you for watching, guys. Thanks for the people who are hanging out.